Hello, NBA fans. I know the news earlier this later afternoon, but the Phoenix Suns have made another move yet again. They have fired first former NBA champion Mike Budenholzer after one season with the Suns. Of course, this is their third firing in the last four seasons. Of course, in 2022, they fired Monty Williams, who's now in somewhere as an assistant coach, wherever he is. Then they hired Frank Vogel. Unfortunately, that did not work out. They fired him, and then they managed to hire Mike Budenholzer as their next head coach, and it was not as according to plan. They finished the season 36 and 46 and 11th in the West. They missed the playoffs for the first time since 2020, and this has been the talk, of course, since of course Kevin Durant requesting a trade. He had that calf sprain injury, of course. It's been all injuries for the Phoenix Suns. And down over there in Phoenix, they're starting to talk about, is this a rebuild right now? Because they've been from 2020 NBA championship game to losing our 2021 NBA championship game, if I'm wrong, to now they're going to rebuild mode. This is tough for Phoenix. I don't know, competing in the West, and the West is good, but this kind of situation right now, this is the second time they fired a first year head coach. They fired Frank Vogel, and then they now just fire Mike Budenholzer. It's tough. It's tough. So let's talk about the candidates. Okay, let's talk. Taylor Jenkins, former Memphis Grizzlies head coach. Michael Malone, former Nuggets head coach. Sam Cassell, who is the Boston Celtics lead assistant coach. Micah Noor, the assistant coach for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Chris Quinn, the assistant coach of the Miami Heat. Willie Green, the New Orleans Pelicans head coach. Jared Dublin, who is the assistant coach for the Dallas Mavericks. And Royal Ivey, who is the assistant coach for the Houston Rockets. Talk about these candidates. I don't see Taylor Jenkins nor Michael Malone taking this job. They're going to hope to look for someone else elsewhere. So I don't see Taylor Jenkins or Michael Malone joining the Phoenix Suns. Sam Cassell has been a name a lot of people have been wanted to hear as a head coach. Of course, Sam Cassell is the assistant coach for the Boston Celtics. Of course, we saw that. We already knew a few years ago. Charles Lee, who was the leading assistant coach for the Celtics, took the Hornets head coaching job. Will we see another Celtics assistant coach go into a head coaching job? And I think Sam Cassell would take this job, but he's got some other guys he's got to have to take care of. Michael Noel, now we should know him. He was the assistant coach for the Timberwolves, who led the Timberwolves to the conference finals. Unfortunately, didn't make it through to the NBA finals. I think he's going to get some coaching jobs. Maybe Memphis would be another great job, but right now in Phoenix, I don't know about this kind of job for him. Chris Quinn is another guy. A lot of people have been mentioning that he could take a head coaching job. This would be another coaching job that he could take, but right now, I just think of Chris Quinn right now looking at maybe Memphis, maybe look at Denver's another one, or who else is the head coaching jobs are open. That's where I am. Okay, how about this one? Willie Green, the Pelicans head coach. This is interesting because he was also the assistant head coach of the Phoenix Suns when Monty Williams was there. But also, the latest news was the Pelicans firing the name of David Griffin, who was part of the security members of the Philadelphia of the Pelicans. Sorry. Now there's a report, a rumor that Willie Green is linked to the Phoenix Suns head coach. I think this could make sense. He's been in Phoenix. He's been an assistant there. I think would be a great job for him to go back to Phoenix to become the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns. That would make sense. Gerald Dudley, assistant for the Mavericks. Yes, still more time to learn for becoming a head coach. And the final candidate, I just got interrupted. Sorry about that. Royal Ivey, who's the assistant coach of the Houston Rockets. Listen, I know these rising assistant head coaches like Jared Dudley and Royal Ivey could get coaching jobs, but in these kinds of conditions, I think they're still going to have to learn a bit more from their head coaching persuasive right there. The three guys that would make sense in Phoenix is Willie Green, Sam Castle, and Chris Quinn. I think I'm leaning towards Willie Green and Sam Castle. Again, Sam Castle would probably make sense because, yes, you see what he was done with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, and that Boston Celtics team. Willie Green, of course, is another person that would make sense too because he's an assistant with the Phoenix Suns. He's been alongside with guys like Zion Williamson, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, of course, another good example there. For me, I think it's going to be Willie Green. He's going to leave New Orleans and he's going to take the Phoenix Suns head coaching job. If you have not seen my other news of the Nico Angaluia news that happened yesterday, or actually on Saturday, go check that out on my channel to see that. Again, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification for more sports news. Biggest news, the Phoenix Suns have fired Mike Budenholzer after one season.